Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and colleagues. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to Vipnan 2023. In the words of John F. Kennedy, our progress as a nation can be no swifter than the progress in education, for a mind is the fundamental resource in building anything. Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam is amongst the top institutes focusing on creating this fundamental resource of nation building. IIM Visakhapatnam is on its path to champion and excel in educating and nurturing entrepreneurial leaders in creating innovative solutions for business, government, and society. In an attempt to extend this thought and nurture the intellectual thought in marketing domain, IMV has organized Vipanan 2023 International Marketing Conference. This is the first chapter of the new series of academic conference exploring research in and across marketing. The theme for the conference is Marketing 5.0, Inroads to Technology and Sustainability. The concept of Marketing 5.0 emphasizes the importance of creating meaningful relationships with customers, leveraging technologies to create personalized experiences, and incorporating sustainable practices into business operations. The theme is particularly topical as technology is disrupting how marketers interact and connect with consumers. We now see an advent of personalized communication using AI ML with a focus on sustainable practices and social responsibility. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my proud privilege to welcome you all to the conference. I would like to welcome respected chief guest, Professor Ramendra Singh, Professor IIM Calcutta, Professor Chandrasekhar, Director IMV, faculty, students, and all the participants. I am grateful to everyone who's graced the event despite their busy schedules. I now request Professor Sanyal, Chair Marketing IIM Visakhapatnam, to share his welcome address.
Let me, before we proceed, present a bouquet of flowers to our chief guest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Director Sir Dr. Chandrasekhar, respected guest Professor Ramendra Singh, faculty colleagues, and fellow researchers. I welcome you to this conference, Vipanan 2023, which is the first marketing conference for Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam. The name Vipanan, as all of you must be wondering why we took this name, but yeah, we wanted to interact. We wanted to see that how we can keep our heritage intact as we are moving forward in the future. So given the changing business landscape and the role of marketing function, we decided that it would be good to have Marketing 5.0, which is a new coined term by Philip Kotler and other great researchers. And so it talks about technology along with sustainability. As late Steve Jobs once said that you have to start with the customer experience and then you need to work backward to build the technology around it. In 2007, when iPhone was launched, nobody thought it would be that much a success. Now iPhone has virtually replaced all the DSLR cameras. It is one of the most efficient computing devices we have. Metaverse, which is at a similar stage right now. Not much progress has happened, but yes, metaverse is the future. And going forward, if as researcher, as marketer, we put our focus and energies into that, the dream will be realized soon. Along with that, we are also facing the crisis of climate change, and it is also essential to align the business activities along with environmental sustainability. Our goal with this conference is to initiate discussion, advanced research on the topic of Marketing 5.0, which encompasses areas like metaverse marketing, as I said, agile marketing, influencer marketing, predictive marketing, data-driven marketing, as well as sustainability. We need a greater understanding in terms of research in order to adopt Marketing 5.0 in its true sense. I am grateful to all the attendees for taking out time from their busy schedule, come down to Visakhapatnam, those who are offline and also people who are online, to make it a successful research event. And I express once again, my gratitude to Director Dr. Chandrasekhar for his guidance and support. And he believed that we can do a conference like that. And with this, I would also like to thank Professor Ramendra Singh, who accepted the invitation And Professor Raman Singh is an expert in the in the domain of marketing for BOP, ICT for development, sales and distribution. And I'm hopeful that this conference, with the conference presentation, with the keynote addresses and the workshops, you will get help and you will be able to progress your research in the field of marketing 5.0. Thank you so much and welcome to this conference.
Thank you, sir. Light gives of itself freely, filling all available space. It does not seek anything in return. It does not ask if you're a friend or a foe. It gives us itself and it does not is it not diminished. May I now request all the dignitaries present to light the lamp of knowledge and inaugurate the ceremony.
Please. This is some innovation. I think you just have to dip it in water. Please, you start. No, you start. You are our guest. Come. You just have to dip it. Okay, yeah. Dip it here? Yeah. You also come forward as the program. Conference chair.
Thank you all. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way, as said by John Maxwell. IMB is privileged to have Professor Chandrasekhar as a leader. Under Professor Chandrasekhar's vision and guidance, IMB is moving to greater heights. During his 40 years of professional career, Dr. Chandrasekhar has been associated for 19 years in the industry and more than 20 years in academics. Sir is the founding director of IMB Visakhapatnam and has been in important positions at Administrative Staff College of India, ASCI. So has served and is serving as chairman member of many high-powered IPEX empowered committees in the ministries and departments of Government of India and on the boards of organizations in the public and private sectors. I welcome Professor Chandrasekhar to request give the opening for the next.
Thank you. Okay, sorry. That's fine. Thank you, Preeti. Let me extend a word of welcome, warm welcome to all our friends, young friends who have come all the way to attend this conference in the physical mode, and my greetings also to all the friends who are joining us from in the online mode. Let me express my gratitude once again to Dr. Ramendra Singh, who is a full professor at IIM Calcutta. He has studied at IIT, BHU and XLRI. Professor, we are happy that we have faculty from these two institutions here among our colleagues here. Dr. Ramendra Singh has done his PhD at IIM Ahmedabad and extensive industry experience, and as Priyavrat mentioned, especially focuses in his research on rural marketing and marketing for the bottom of the pyramid. And that in a way is a very befitting invitation, and his presence here is befitting because today when you speak about marketing 5.0, I was going through the book written by Philip Kotler briefly. I am not a marketer, but I'm more of a consumer. But out of interest, I was going through that book, and that book talks about technology for humanity. So when you speak about humanity, obviously talking about inclusiveness, you're talking about sensitivity to the communities around us, and you are talking about the care for sustainability and not merely profits. And hence, the presence and the inaugural address, keynote address by Dr. Ramendra Singh, I'm sure is very, very fitting in a circumstance for an event like this. And let me also congratulate my two colleagues, Preeti and Priyavrat, for taking the initiative and conducting this conference. Preeti is a PhD. If you have not already looked up her CV on the web, she is a PhD from IIT Bombay, had worked earlier in business management schools before she joined us. Priyavrat is both a Jamnalal Bajaj graduate and an IIM Indore PhD. Worked for more than a decade in Godrej and Boyce in the sales and marketing function before he joined another IIM, and from there he joined us. So we are very proud to have these colleagues, and I'm sure they have put together a very exciting array of speakers and discussions, which I'm sure will be of great benefit to you. Let me share a few thoughts. Dr. Singh is the expert. I'm not an authority on marketing, but there are some quote unquote privileges you get being the head of the institute. You are asked to speak. And so, you get that opportunity of sharing the 2 cents that you might like to do. Friends, the whole essence of this book, as I was saying, Marketing 5.0, Technology for Humanity, is all about how marketers can use technology to address the customer needs by also being sensitive to the aspects that I said, aspects of sustainability, inclusiveness, etc. Being a consumer, the perspective that I speak from is good because earlier times we used to call customer is king, but today, in these days, customer is the God. So the voice of the customer is the one that should prevail, that must hold. And this book is talking about how can you enhance customer experience by bringing technology into play. And those, for example, the world is still made up of what we call as 70% analogs. Maybe people of my generation, we are called baby boomers, born between 46 and 64. And the current generation, for example, they called Gen Alpha, prior to that Gen Z, prior to that Gen Y or millennials. Addressing the marketing or the expectations of these generations are far different from what my generation had experienced. So today customers in these age groups are really the God. The book also talks about whatever, whenever, and wherever service delivery, which typically means anytime, anywhere, anyhow delivery of a product or a service. And it talks about everything as a service. Frankly speaking, in every product, there is a service embedded. For example, if I am using this microphone is a product, but I am using it as to deliver the service of kind of amplifying whatever I am saying. A pen could be a product, but it is giving me the service of being able for me to be able to write. So every product is a service delivery agent or a mechanism in some form or the other. And these increasingly the trend, as they say, is every service, every product is also delivered as a service. And this book further goes on to speak about 2 very important concepts. I've heard this concept for the first time. It talks about prosperity polarization. Prosperity should not be limited to a particular segment or section, but prosperity should be diffused. So how do you bring not only value for money, but value for many? So much focus you find these days on social entrepreneurship. Whatever I am trying to do, position as a product or a service, it should have a larger social impact. That's the aim and essence. In 1994, many of you, of course, are very young. There is a British author who coined this term called triple bottom line. Not only do you focus on profits, but also on planet and people. And the whole idea of today organizations is focused on this very essence of how do you create not just economic value, but also environmental value and social value. And when we use technology, how does it help me in marketing? Because for one, it helps me to discover new trends. It helps me to uncover hidden patterns. It can help me to draw out new conclusions so that I understand the psychographic or the behavioral, or the geographic expectations and requirements of my customers better. This book of, Marketing 5.0 also talks about personalized sense, making a personalized sense and respond experience. So how do I gather the voice of the customer? And how do I translate those feelings into finished products? So as a marketer, I am the person closest. As a salesperson, I am the closest to the customer. The manufacturing organization or the service delivery organization is somewhere behind. And I am the bridge between the customer, the solution seeker and the solution solver, who is much behind me. And so this is where I think technology, when used in a meaningful way, can bring a lot of value. Friend John Maida was a research professor at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He's now a vice president of design at Microsoft. He said once famously, the computer knows me, and he's a professor of computer design. He said, the computer knows me as its enemy. Everything I touch does not work. Whenever I plug something in, the computer sends a long and incomprehensible error message, he said. What I meant was, I was referring to 70% of the population is still analogs. About 15% are digital immigrants who are just about being able to use technology for benefit. The remaining 15% are the digital natives. Some of them I find before me who are Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So while your perspectives are different, there are still people like me of the older generation still in circulation. So if you are looking at providing a solution to a customer like me, you still have to position something with which I am comfortable. So while exploiting the benefits of technology for serving the customer in a better, simpler, more cost-effective way, you must also think about the limitations of my generation. That's the essence I gather. Going forward, just a couple of more thoughts and I'll stop. A very popular, an economist of this country once said that India is a multi-layered brand, and you will have to peel it layer by layer like an onion, and you will get tears in your eyes. Which means that understanding the psyche of an Indian customer is not easy. For the reasons that I mentioned, if you have to say the right words, right things, do the right things, make the right offers at the right moment, it's not easy. It requires a lot of research, and it requires the essence of marketing for which you are all here today. Earlier, customers could be defecting because of the price reasons or product reasons or service reasons. But today, a customer could also defect, move away from you because you are not considered to be an ethical operator. In what you do, you are not either in your practices, which are not human. Maybe you are employing child labor. You are not an organic producer. You are not environmentally friendly, or you are not practicing sustainability in your processes. That could also be an issue. So the marketer's job is to give this pulse back to the organization, so that if the organization is not keeping its ears and eyes open, at least as an insider, the marketer must bring this additional wisdom into the organizations. The second aspect that we find today is the concept of N is equal to 1. Every customer is unique. People call the word mass customization. It's an oxymoron because it is mass, it is also customization. But how can I do that is something of a challenge where I have to position something of unique value to every individual. I'd only say that technology and its allied kind of knowledge base when I use like social media, etc., which actually bridge our communication in both time and space. What we need to focus, in my view, I've also worked in organizations for about 20 years before I came into academics, both in the public sector and private sector. And ultimately, I think as marketers, you should help the organization. How does your goal is to analyze and enlighten everybody in the organization as how does our organization think? Are our success metrics centered around the customers? How does our organization work? Are our products and processes engineered keeping the customer in view? How is our organization structured? Does our hierarchy encourage the functions to respond to and meet the customer needs? How does the culture of our organization manifest itself? Does everyone here in this organization have a reason to smile about, reason to smile at, think about, listen to, and respond to the customer? I think that is the culture that we need to cultivate, a culture of customer trust. Because customer satisfaction does not end with the product or service that I deliver. It is much more transformational than that, not just merely transaction based. I do hope this conference will help you to delve deeper into some of the thoughts that experts like Dr. Singh will share with you. And may you find it useful in your research going forward and in your teaching as you go forward. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Arthur Clarke said, I don't pretend we have all the answers, but the questions are certainly worth thinking about. It is a privilege to have amongst us a distinguished academician who has not only thought about numerous questions, but has also found answers to many, added them to theory, and made it known to the world. We have with us the chief guest for the event, Professor Ramendra Singh. Professor Singh is Professor of Marketing at IIM Calcutta. He did his PhD from IIM Ahmedabad, MBA from XLI Jamshedpur, and BTech from IIT BHU. With more than 18 years in academics, Professor Singh has been conducting paradigmatic research, which has been published in reputed international journals like Journal of Business Research, Journal of Macro Marketing, Journal of Marketing Management, International Marketing Review, Marketing Theory, to name a few. Professor Singh serves on editorial boards of several leading international academic journals, has guest edited several special issues, and has written several articles in business publications. His research interests include marketing and the poor, information communication technology for development, business and society, and Salesforce performance management. He has authored several books, including Bottom of Pyramid Marketing, Making, Shaping, and Developing BOP Markets, a textbook on sales and distribution management, which I know most of the institutes use, 2 books on marketing case studies. He has also authored several case studies on profit and non-profit organizations, startups, as well as social enterprises. He has worked in the industry for several years in sales and marketing responsibilities. Thank you for gracing the event, sir. May I request, sir and Director, sir, to unveil the book of abstracts for the conference?
You do that. No, you are good together. I'll hold it. You can unveil it. We'll do it. Come on. Yeah, you very. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. May I request Ramendra Singh, sir, to declare the event open by delivering the keynote address?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Do we need to share the slides also, right? For the online audience?
It's visible to them.
It's visible to them. Oh, okay. So good morning to all of you, and welcome to this conference. And many thanks to the entire Visakhapatnam team, especially Professor Chandrasekhar, the entire organizing team. The wonderful efforts I can see, and thank you again for calling me. So I'm not an expert, unlike how wonderfully I was described, but I'm also a student of management. I'll just try and share, some of the thoughts that I have about Marketing 5.0, even though very honestly, let me tell you, I have not read the book. But when I heard it, it came to me as a surprise that marketing has crossed 4 steps and moved to step 5. So I'll share some of the thoughts which I could gather in the last couple of years or whatever that we have all been doing research on. So I'll share those thoughts and then I'll close, and maybe that can be food for thought for all of you for your future research or otherwise. So I mean, my talk's title is little provocative. I have a tendency of provocating people, and some of them get brushed the wrong way, some of them get brushed the right way. So I'll not ask you, which way you were brushed after the talk, but I'll leave it to you. So a little provocative to at least keep you alive and kicking. So can marketing and technology solve our problems? So of course the answer is not binary, yes or no, but maybe some food for thought, given that the theme is marketing 5.0. Okay. Yeah. Please go ahead. Okay. So yeah, so this is, I was told by the organizing team that the title or the theme is Marketing 5.0. So I looked it up. I had a very quick review of the book, which I didn't read, as I said, written by 3 gentlemen, Philip Kotler, Hamavan Kartajaya, and Ivan Setyavan. So this concept of Marketing 5.0 actually is, this is slightly coinciding, so maybe I can push it up slightly. This window can be put up there. Okay. So yeah, so marketing has come from being a product-centered marketing, and Professor Chandrasekhar did a fabulous job of telling us how marketing has progressed. From being a product-centric world where consumers were not, the marketers were not interested in consumer, they were more interested in the product, to marketing 2.0, where the consumers were actually became the center of marketing because there was a competition among the companies. So the competition for customer led to a lot of more focus on consumer than the product. And then marketing 3.0, where companies started to talk about the values which consumers cared for, and the companies were trying to align themselves to the values of the consumers to become more acceptable. And then to marketing 4.0, where the traditional media gave way to digital, and we all are into the digital platform today, and I'll show some data to show how much digital we have become in our behaviors, in our adoption, and finally to marketing 5.0, which this book talks about, which is broadly described as marketing 5.0 is broadly described as marketing 4.0. Over and above this, added to that technology, the latest technologies like AI, which is artificial intelligence, MR, which is mixed reality like VR and AR, IoT, blockchain, NLP, and so on. So broadly, Professor Chandrasekhar did a fabulous job of telling us what the key themes of Marketing 5.0 are. The book describes these to be of 3 kinds. One is generation gap, which he has so wonderfully described in terms of the baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, Alpha, and so on. So that I'll not cover too much in detail, and I'll focus more on the other 2, which is prosperity, polarization, and the digital divide. Because that is, according to my little understanding about this subject, I think that's where, from an Indian perspective, is where most of our gains or losses would be in terms of, because we still remain a poor country, if you can call ourselves that. And the digital divide is, the way the digital divide has been conceptualized is, very binary again. So are you on the digital or are you not on the digital, which is a very basic and a gross way of understanding digital. There's a lot more to digital divide than what meets the eye. That will
talk about. So some numbers, not to overwhelm you, but just to give you an idea for some of you who are not so much aware of how the digital divide is actually, how bad the digital divide is. So one way of looking at digital divide is those who are having the the access to internet, those who are having access to the devices, and so on. So for example, 2018 data shows that the world's population that time was 7.5 billion people. Out of them, 53% of them, only 53% of them, which is half the world, was using internet. 40% of the world was active social media users. 68% of the population had mobile, so they are mobile users, and less than 40% of them were 40% of the total population was active mobile users. Right now, so each of these are a symbol of digital divide. Okay, I mean, in my modest view, because if you look at people who are on the internet, half the world, and half the world is not on the internet, so they don't get the benefits of internet. Or you see that those who have access to social media, just 40%. So 60% of the world is on the other side of digital divide. And then if you look at mobile device, which is we can safely say this is the most accessible device, right? Mobile device is the most accessible digital device compared to laptop or computer and so on. So if you take that as a proxy of going digital, because mobile phones are as less pricey as 2,000, 3,000 rupees, only still then, only 68% are on the digital platforms, others are not. And if you look at social platforms, only 40%. Now, if you look at the other way of looking at digital divide is where, and this is Indian data, when you look at how the number of social users, I mean, the users of social platforms have only gone up from 140 odd million in 2015 to projected numbers of less than 450 million, which is 45 crore people. We are a world of around 1.45 billion people. By the way, I mean, some of you may know it already, and maybe all of you know it, that we are world's most populous country today, right? So if you look at it, still only one third of the world, one third of the country is having an access to social platform, which again, I mean, when we say this, we feel proud that at least one third are there, but there are good things and there are bad things. I mean, just being on social platform will not bring prosperity, right? So when we say digital divide, and if you say that one third of the country is on the one side of the digital divide, the other is on the other side of the digital divide, we should, of course, be concerned about the 2/3 which are not on the digital platform, but we should not homogeneously feel happy about that 1/3 which is on the digital platform, because all digital is not necessarily good. What digital does to us is equally important. And this is some more data if you're interested, and many of you already know it, that if you look at the global data, 3 billion people are on Facebook, 2 billion people are on Insta, 1 billion people were on TikTok till it got banned, almost 1 billion people on LinkedIn, etc., etc. And here you can see the demographic segmentation of who's actually on what platform. So for example, on Insta, 60% of the people on Insta are in the age group 18 to 34, compared to, say, LinkedIn, where 60% of the people are in the age group 25 to 34. So these are for different reasons, as you all know. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that the world, the digital divide, I don't know, I've not read the books. I really don't know what they're talking about when they talk about digital divide, but digital divide is one of the three things they talk about. But whatever I've heard about digital divide is, broadly a very binary kind of a segmentation, that either you are or you are not having access to digital devices. But fundamentally, that it's more than that, as we'll see that, for example, if you're saying that those who have access to technologies, are they necessarily benefiting from it, is really, slightly full of disclaimers. For example, this book also talks about the fact that marketing 5.0 is marketing 4.0 plus technologies, right? And they're talking about cutting edge technologies like AI, blockchain, NLP, MR, or IoT. Is it necessarily good? So even if you're on the right side of the digital, are you necessarily going to benefit from it? That's what I'm raising a thought. For example, very recently, IBM CEO Arvind Krishna has raised this issue and very blatantly gone to the press with this, that he thinks at least 30% of the job workforce in his company, probably he's talking about his company, I'm not sure whether he's talking about industry or he's talking about across industries, 1/3 will be replaced, at least, easily means at least, right? 1/3 of the workforce in IBM is going to get replaced. And IBM is a tech company, right? And it's a global giant which operates in almost 200 countries. So 30% will get replaced by AI alone. So forget about other technologies. Now, is it a good news or a bad news? It depends on whom you're asking, right? So if you look at, we are a poor country. That's how the world looks at us, right? So if you are a poor country, this is not a good news. Of course, it can bring more profits to IBMs of the world, but it's not necessarily good news. But if you look at it, even from a simple human being, even if you don't look yourself as a consumer or, technologist or manager, a simple human being who is trying to be on the social platform for whatever reason, personal, professional, you are getting manipulated. And there are a lot of documentaries on that. For example, you go to Netflix, there is a documentary called what is it called? Social Dilemma, yeah. And the dark web, and there are many. So Social Dilemma, I would say, a must watch for those who are interested in the world of digital, divides. Social Dilemma, 30 or 40 minutes documentary on Netflix. It has done a fabulous research on how we are getting manipulated on the digital platform, So anyways, the things which you are not even aware of, for example, post-truth. These are all words that were invented a couple of years back. They're now finding, I'm sourcing it from Oxford Dictionary. So the post-truth says that people are increasingly giving less, they're discounting objectivity and giving more weightage to emotional and personal beliefs. Things like filter bubble, where you are in a situation on the internet where you get more and more of the information that you want to see, rather than the information that is actually there. So why am I mentioning these two? Because these are phenomena of the digital world. So post-truth means you stop seeing the fact, right? And you start looking at things how you are shown to be, right? Which is not necessarily the truth. That's why it's called post-truth. So things like this are, so when we say digital, it's not necessarily that we are all getting, getting benefited. These are the things that are manipulating you, and you're looking at things which don't exist, right? You're living in a filter bubble, or you're living in the post-truth world. And then the ChatGPT, which we are so fascinated about. Recently, there were a lot of papers with ChatGPT as a co-author, and scientist community has vehemently opposed ChatGPT having to do anything of this kind, with the social science or the science research. And therefore, a lot of science journals have gone and banned ChatGPT, not just as a co-author. They've gone 2 steps ahead and said, if we find any trace of any kind of contribution or anything, even if you touch ChatGPT with a barge pole, we are going to reject your paper. Even if it is like preliminary research of literature using ChatGPT, which ChatGPT is capable of, it can write a good paper, it can get accepted. Our paper can get rejected, their paper get accepted. It's that bad. So science journals have clearly said that forget about co-authorship, we will not even touch a paper if it has got anything to do with ChatGPT. So this is, and this is a big thing, because we in IMC, I'm sure in Visakhapatnam also, a lot of faculty would be bothered that, student assignments, is ChatGPT writing or are we writing? Very difficult to find out. And then, the marriage of spirituality and technology. There's something called Gita GPT. I don't know if you've heard of this. Gita GPT, right? So this is what technology can do for you. So all of you will forget about reading Bhagavad Gita, and you'll start asking Gita GPT, what if you could talk to Bhagavad Gita? So you don't have to go and meet Lord Krishna yourself. You don't even have to buy a Bhagavad Gita from ISKCON. All you have to do is go to Gita GPT and ask him or her, I don't know what gender he has. So you go and ask all questions, right? Good or bad. And some version of spirituality will get spouted out. So I think it's dangerous, So when we say this, I'm saying half jokingly or half seriously, and then see where technology is leading you. You're getting manipulated all the time, and forget about consumer. As a human being also getting manipulated. For example, look at where everybody wanted to be. TikTok, right? India was one of the leading consumers. I mean, this is slightly older. It is around almost 150 million. So before it got banned, TikTok had 150 million users, and then it got banned. So US was only 50 million, and Indonesia. So India, US, and Indonesia were one of the biggest adopters of TikTok before it got banned. And this is the map you can see where TikTok is getting banned. Yellow is full ban, green is partial ban. So you see India, full ban. Indonesia. So India is the #1 country. Indonesia here is #4 country. It's fully banned. US is #3 country. It is partially banned because of privacy concerns. In 2022 July, Twitter was hacked, and 20 crore consumers' email addresses were taken out of that backend and put on the dark web. That means you can get threatened, you can get ransom calls, you can get malicious attacks, because anybody can go to dark web, access those emails, and do all kind of funny things with you. So all your privacy is actually a past. And then all of these, I don't want to go into this, but Indian government has already banned 59 Chinese apps, primarily on security and privacy concerns. So when we say technology, all the marriage of spirituality, technology, and sustainability, do we really, are we questioning this marriage? What kind of child will this marriage produce? Will it be a dangerous kind of a thing that we have to be careful of? Of course, I don't want to sound too much. How much time do I have? I mean, some time. Okay, I just wanted to run a small video to give you a flavor of what Elon Musk thinks about technology. He's another. So Elon Musk, I'm not saying he's a champion of or the messiah of the world or savior of the solar system, but he has some thoughts. He's running a couple of successful companies. Isko slideshow mein dal ke please. So he has talked about his thoughts, and there are, even the technology world is divided among those who like to have, AI playing a dominant role or technology playing a dominant role in our lives. And some of them, like Elon Musk, have sounded some warning bells to the world that, we should be careful about how just. Okay, so it's taking some time, so we'll just try it once. Bring back down. This is what technology can do for you. A simple click has resulted in two technology guys trying to figure out how to run a video, which looks very unlikely it will start, but we are still trying, So the digital divide, So this is not working. All I wanted to do was click, and see what's happening between so many people. So anyway, let's just click that.
Can you just copy that? I mean, read that and copy.
So then we can leave it so. It's on the same page. You can copy and you can paste it on. You're using it as an image. You can just copy this as the text. Copy करके, then just put it on the bar.
Thought between YouTube. Is that intentional?
I was also wondering. You and .be.
Yeah. I think that's the tiny URL.
Okay.
Possibly, yes, that might be the reason. Even I'm not very good with this. So maybe you can remove this dot of the. Now this dot will work. Okay. Anyways, we'll ditch this.
Dot should be there, maybe.
Dot should be there
Maybe.
probably. Dot के साथ करिए. Anyway, we'll forget about it. Yeah, so this is the digital divide I was talking about, right? So let's stick to go back to this. Yeah. Presentation mode. Yeah. Okay. So that was Elon Musk, and maybe you can go to the YouTube and find out. So it's a nice video that shows all that is happening in the world of AI and technology and how things can go bad. Now, the other thing that this book talks about is the prosperity polarization, which is what Professor Chandrasekhar also talked about. And if you look at it from our country's point of view, this is what the data from, I think, Niti Aayog or from such a national multidimensional poverty. So this is a multi-dimensional poverty map of India where it shows state by state to what extent people are poor. And so green means relatively better off and red means poor. So you can see, a lot of these states in northern India are actually very poor, and some of these states. So it's again a poverty divide, right? Some people are, for example, states like Bihar, half the population is poor, and some states are fairly better off. and overall, 25% poverty is there. So the key thing for us sitting in India is to what extent can we use marketing and technologies for increasing the, the health and the education and the well-being of the people, right? Because some of the technologies that the people in the US are talking about is one that is a rich man's problem, and we are poor and we have other problems to solve. Okay, and so therefore I just wanted to highlight some of the issues where this headline is missing, because this reads like aligning marketing with SDG goals, and this is another purpose, in my opinion, where we should be bothered about is not just do research which is Western, right? Because those are poor, those are rich countries. They are solving rich man's problem, right? Even if you want a publication very badly, which we all need in this room, don't go and solve rich man's problem. There are enough people solving rich man's problem. Let's try and solve poor man's problem. So how can we align marketing with SDG goals? Of course, even if you don't know what are SDG goals, they are very simple 17 goals. Even you don't have to bother about goals, because all they're talking about are stark realities of poor countries like poverty. So their dream first goal is that there should be no poverty, right? But as we just saw in the last slide, India has 25% average. Some say 16%, but 16 to 25% poverty. So that can become our primary goal. Why do we not use our intellectual horsepower to solve some of the problems that are staring at us, right? Rather than the problems that are staring at somebody else, right? Like poverty, hunger, health, well-being, education, gender equality, clean water, clean sanitation, and a host of them, right? These are the SDG goals. So just a small example. So this is a store, a kirana store in any part of the world, any part of the country, right? So look at the quality of the store, how he or she is selling, what he or she is selling. So there are more than some estimates say around 15 million, but conservative estimates say there are in India more than 10 million kirana stores, and together they constitute 80% of the retail sales in India. Some say 15 million, some say 20 million. I would say 10 million for sure. Kirana stores selling, contributing at least 80% of the total retail sale in India. Okay. Now, what problems stare you as a marketeer? The first thing, and because I also happen to teach sales and distribution very often in IMC. So, when I show this picture to students, and ask what are the problems that you would like to solve, and for whom? So for example, what problems do you think this person will have, as a kirana store owner? Or what problems do you think, if you're a policymaker, what problems do you think selling products like this will create or is creating? So for example, the first thing, because I also teach bottom of pyramid, when I see these sachets hanging in the air, they're not in air, they're on a rod, of course. So when you see these sachets, do you see, what do you see? You see a lot of plastic being used, right? And sachets are small pack size. So when you look at those sachets, the first thing that comes to your mind is it must be for the poor consumer. It is, right? A lot of sachets used by poor consumers. But it creates a lot of sustainability issues also, which is goal number 11. It creates a lot of litter, right? So if you use a 1 liter shampoo bottle versus a sachet of 5 ml, you use more plastic when you use a sachet than when you use a large pack. But if you're a poor consumer, you can't buy a 1 liter shampoo. You have to buy a 5 ml pack of shampoo. So therefore, while we are creating solutions for the low-income consumer by packaging in small packs, we are going against the environment in that sense, right? So how do you balance that? Because if you look at this kirana store, which is a livelihood of at least 10 million families, if not more, the kind of problems that you are creating from a business point of view, right? From business point of view is that if in India there are close to, for example, shampoo. Shampoo as a category is sold 90% by volume and 60% by value in sachets. 90% by volume and 60% by value is sold in sachets. So for a country like India, a company like Unilever or Procter & Gamble have to make sachets. But so when you're addressing these issues, which are marketing and business issues, how do you handle environment? For example, Kinley or any like Coke and Pepsi and Bisleri, who are marketing bottled water, right? So there is a market which is as big as 5,000 crore. Bottled water market in India is at least 4,000, 5,000 crore market. So if you're a big player like Coke or Pepsi or Bisleri or whoever, it's difficult to ignore the market. But when you're creating those products, you're creating a lot of litter because all those empty bottles are generally not used. They are circulated. There are a lot of counterfeiting. They create a lot of litter, and it creates a lot of sustainability issues where you are handling, unmanageable wastes and so on. So so what I'm trying to say is, when you're looking at the situation, when the next time we go to the Kirana store, look at the problems that we should be solving rather than what we are told to solve. Somebody will say, how can you increase the pack size to increase the profitability? That is somebody else's problem. There are other problems as well, right? How do you reduce the pack size, or how do you change the packaging material, which may not be always technological solution. There are marketing solutions to that kind of issue, etc. Or how his business model can change to increase his income. Can you think of a different business model for Kirana? So there are a lot of startups who are working on that. For example, one of the startups is Kirana Club, which is trying to digitize the Kirana stores and connect it as a last mile partner to the big guys like Amazons of the world. So there are a lot of things happening, but those are the for-profit companies. We as a researcher can do our own contribution. For example, just to give one more last example, and then we'll move on. For example, poor fishermen. And in Visakhapatnam, I was looking at the beach and I saw a lot of fishermen there. Across India, there are 4 million fishermen, at least, and most of them are not rich. And 60% of them are living below poverty line. What kind of marketing solutions can we provide? Can we make better boats? Of course, you don't have to make a boat, but can you suggest, a different way of fishing? Do you suggest a different way of, increasing his incomes? Can marketing help to increase his incomes? Can marketing help to improvise his the way in which he sells his fish? So, by the way, fish is auctioned, right? So I also live in a coastal area called Culcutta, right? So there, the fishermen will catch the fish and give it to bring it to the mandi. It is auctioned. And if you look at that model, you see that the poorest in that value chain is the fisherman who gets exploited. The big guys, the aggregators, the disaggregators, the wholesalers, the mandi guys are all in a coalition. So when they work in a coalition, the fishermen are divided. So the coalition actually exploits them. So can we as marketeers find solutions to the guys who are disaggregated in the value chain? So those are the questions that would probably your country is asking for, for whoever is safe. So that is what, I just wanted to close this with a couple of slides where, where we can see that marketing 5.0 is okay about technology and marketing and sustainability, but can we also have a nice marriage between the technology, sustainability and marketing, which is, creating solutions even for the consumers who are often invisible in the market. So a lot of interesting things are happening which are not visible, because these are IIMs, these are business schools, and generally we tend to talk about elite things, right? We tend to talk about the rich man and the rich companies and solving rich companies' problems and rich person's problems. We often ignore the poor people. So there is a lot that's happening in the country which doesn't come to your eyes. For example, cycles. In India, in Ludhiana, there is a bicycle manufacturer called Hero, which is world's largest bicycle manufacturer. India sells 15 million bicycles, And what has bicycles got to do with business? A lot. What has bicycles got to do with the economy of the country? A lot. 20% of all work trips are made on bicycles, And actually, one of the studies shows that if you provide bicycles, you sell them, you gift them, you can add 23 million additional work hours, which can be monetized up to the extent of 11,000 crores. So just by increasing the number of bicycles, you can add 11,000 crores to the GDP of the country, which is coming from research. Similarly, looking at alternate business models. So many years ago, there was this gentleman called Mohammed I forgot his name also. Mohammed Yunus, who founded Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. And we invited him to IIM Calcutta, and there he did a fabulous job of telling us how he founded it. So he said that he was a professor of economics in the US, and the day Bangladesh got the independence, he just came back. The next flight. And he joined University of Chittagong, so he was teaching economics, but he said, I never understood economics because all the economics was for the rich person. The banks giving loan to rich people, and the rich businesses expanding their businesses by taking a loan, repaying the loan, all that is Western, right? And he said that when I used to walk out of and used to teach that to the students, and when I walk out of the university, all I see is poor women who don't have food to eat, right? How will the economics solve its problems? So he started lending to those poor women. And one day he started, this bank called Grameen Bank. So if you look at some of the economics of this bank, it is fabulous. It is contrary to all economic models. For example, lending to 7 million poor consumers who have no capacity to pay back. But the repayment rate is highest in the world, 99%, without any collateral. No bank in the world will lend without collateral, and no bank in the world has a 99% repayment rate. So fundamentally, what we are saying is we need a fundamental shift in our thinking, rather than just copying what you are told, reading books and kind of regurgitating that in the class or in your answers, right? We need to think and criticize, what you are being fed may not be the only truth. A lot of it is to manipulate you into thinking their way, right? You have to think your way. So a lot of critical thinking has to be there. For example, before this company in Tamil Nadu called Kevin Care launched sachet, all companies, all FMCG giants in the world, in all countries, thought this is a very bad idea. So when Kevin Care started selling 50 paisa Chic shampoo in India in 1977, when they started picking up, somebody in Unilever went to the board and said, there is a small company called Kevin Care or something. They're selling, shampoo in sachets. And see the arrogance of the who's who. They say, oh, they're a small company. Ignore the regional players. They will not sell more than 20 sachets or something like this. And then when they become big, then the board said that come up with a business plan, Unilever. We want to launch the sachets, right? Today, sachets only in sachets are there in 25 to 30 product categories. Only in shampoo, 95% of the shampoo sales, as I just said, and 60% by value is sold in sachets. Even the rich people are buying in sachets. No, that's true. If you look at the data, almost 40 to 50% of the sachets bought are by the rich people. And remaining 50 to 60% are by the poor people. And once upon a time, this idea was laughed. Just like the idea that IBM CEO laughed when he was told, sir, there is some new computer. We make frameworks, mainframes. There's something called personal, computer. He said, and then he held a press conference and somebody asked him, how many personal computers, there's something called personal computers somebody has brought. How many of them do you think it will sell? He said, not more than 5. And IBM actually went down because they could not make, the PC. Similarly, Tata Nano. So Tata Nano, we always teach in the class, it's a failure. But, every failure is not an in itself. So they have learned how to make the world's smallest car. Maybe tomorrow they can make a more successful car. So they had to completely change the design, come out with outsourced, 85% of the components outsourced, and they have to come up with newer vendors, fewer vendors, which they've never done in their life. And that led to a lot of learning, right? So there are some successful cases also, like Godrej launching Chotu Cool. I don't know if you know it or not. We teach that in the class. This small fridge, micro fridge or whatever, that costs just 4,000 rupees, right? Rather than, because, you don't have electricity in the villages. So you need something that runs this runs on without electricity. Then you have a low energy consuming, this is an ATM made by a company in Chennai called Vortex that consumes just 4% of the energy. And it's used widely by many banks in the villages. And then you have a very low cost razor made by Gillette for the Indian rural men, right? So these are some of the examples of products that were innovated for this market, not coming from. So I'll close it here. I know I probably have exceeded my time, but I'll close it here by kind of just sharing some thoughts that, you already know about this thing called circular economy. And probably this looks to be a model that, I don't know if this model is going to work or not, but this combines sustainability. If you see, there are 5 or 6 things here. So they're talking about extending the product life of a product. No marketer will do that. They will make product to become obsolete sooner than later, right? So extending product life, minimizing waste or maximizing resource utilization, using your energy and natural capital carefully, using digital technology. So it just does combine digital also into this, but it also talks about sustainability issues here and sharing economy, right? So probably we can move toward this, and there are a lot of people who are talking about moving towards a circular economy. I mean, basically, fundamentally, circular economy is to reduce your waste and recycle. As you can see, recycle, refurbish, repurpose, recover, and repair. All those things. I close it here, and I hope you have a great conference. The organizers have done a wonderful job, and that can be a food for thought. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir, for these enlightening words. The talk has opened our minds for many questions and perspectives, for sure. I now request Director, sir, to extend a token of gratitude to Professor Ramendra Singh.
Thank you so very much for coming. Thank you very much.
We come to the last leg of the inaugural function, and I being co-chair, and on the behalf of the organizer of the conference, I would like to extend a warm vote of thanks to all of you who've joined us today. We are delighted to have such an outstanding group of participants, online, offline, esteemed guests and experts from the marketing discipline. I would like to express my gratitude to Director Sir for his guidance and support in organizing the conference. I would like to express a heartfelt appreciation to the keynote speakers, Professor Ramendra Singh and Professor Balaji, Professor Subhadeep Roy for delivering the workshop on qualitative research methods, to session chairs who have and will, over the period of these 2 days, share their time, expertise, and knowledge with us. Their insights and contributions have been invaluable in shaping the agenda of this conference. I would like to thank Professor Sanyal for as the conference chair for the and the organizing committee for their tireless efforts and support in conceiving this conference from just an idea on paper. Special thanks to the marketing area faculty, Dr. Amit Shankar, Dr. Pankaj, for their contributions to making it a success. I would also like to acknowledge the hard work put in by Dr. Rajshekhar, our academic assistant, our PhD scholars, Aman Kumar Rohit and Nivin. I also thank Vishwanath Behraji for his creative design that you all see we are using it for our marketing. I would also like to extend a gratitude to participants for being here, for your insightful research. Your contributions in the next 2 days will provide us with thought-provoking ideas and fresh perspectives. We recognize the importance of knowledge sharing and networking in driving progress, and we find that this event would be a good opportunity for all of us to come together and share our ideas and experiences and connect with each other. Last but not least, I'd like to thank all the staff of IMB for their unrelenting support. Once again, we would like to thank all of you for your participation and contribution to this conference. We hope you find the sessions insightful, engaging. And as we begin the conference, I encourage you all to approach the sessions and discussions with an open mind, be willing to learn from one another and to challenge the assumptions and to embrace new ideas. Thank you all. Yes, oh, sorry. So we'll break for a group photo right now. It will be.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
As you just said that we are like you have given the example of IM that we are concentrating on rich companies and not on the poor, the small and right, right. So my question is, if we give to the students across India, I'm talking about, especially for the B schools, not only IIMs, but each and every B school, if they give live projects in their coursework to the students to work with such small entrepreneurs to make sure that they, they help them for marketing strategies, achieving the sustainable goals which are being put forward by UN. So whether that can help, because we are finding the solutions.
You can do that. I don't want to sound cynical in this room. I have tried doing that, and I've also brought projects myself from ITC and Inaugural world. Students, if you give them a choice, nobody will touch this one.
Even I tried. I know. Even I tried. I tried in my organization. That's why, and it worked. It worked. Yes. It worked.
Then you are because it never works here in the IIM.
Because might be the.
But in the IIM that I am working in for last 13, 14 years, all they care for is, Unilever product, project or ITC.
Might be the mindset of the students of IIM might be as they have that they want to work with, right? And might be the B schools, other B schools may.
B schools have become very strong. And this is not the platform for discussing this, but they need to come down from the stratosphere to ground zero. Because they have moved to what is getting for.
Yeah, but I think so. If they each B school will work on such live product with the projects with the with the small business.
Yeah, but they will not touch a small business. But I'll give a small example. Then I'll stop. So I was a PhD student in Ahmedabad. So one of my teachers was Professor Culcutta, who's in Ahmedabad. He is stalwart, right? I mean, he has a lot of. He's reached that different level. He's a Padma Shri awardee. He's also the vice chairman of National Innovation Council. So I requested him, sir, can you give some projects? So he connected me to somebody in National Innovation Foundation. So that manager from National Innovation Foundation actually gave us projects. This is for a MBA student.
Okay.
And these are grassroots innovators. So these are grassroots innovators who are innovating basic products like low cost toothpaste or something, very basic thing. And I thought, the students will be happy. I gave them everybody got the project. And this course was called Marketing to Bottom of Pyramid. So this connects, right? I thought it connects, that you're doing a project of grassroots innovators. So when the course finished, in the feedback, they're writing, Professor Singh brought some great companies and some great products, very poor quality products. And we really don't know why we did this project. And I'll request him the next time we should only take projects from Unilever, ITC, Nestle, Procter & Gamble, Amul at work.
But I think they can work more harder in these companies.
To become less snobbish.
Yeah. Thank you.
People are very risk averse, very current generation. For example, to add to what Singh sir has said, in our institute, I am Visakhapatnam. My budget is about 70 crores per year. We set aside 1% of our budget, which is 70 lakh rupees every year for use by our students. If they want to experiment with any idea, give wings to their idea, I can fund them. I can give them a gap year in their academic. They can take an academic year holiday. They can take a placement holiday, try with their idea for 1 full year. If they fail, they come back and join me in the second year, and it is business as usual. They sit through the placements, etc. But like Dr. Saab said, there are not many takers. It requires a lot of convincing. They would like to go the beaten track and appear for the jobs, etc. So even though I'm giving them on a platter, no questions asked. They are my own kids. So I'm willing to pay them 70 lakh rupees if they can projectize their ideas. But very few takers. Very few takers. That's a different story. As I said, this is not, I think we need a tea now. Some tea,
Thank you all for the session. We'll go downstairs for a group photograph, and then break for tea. Please make a
Yes. First photograph, then tea. Okay.
Very private photograph.